Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. Today we have Netflix 333rd film from 2021. It's the Brazilian comedy drama called Double Dad, or in Portuguese, PM Dobro. It's directed by Chris D'Amato and stars Mesa Silva, Eduardo Moscovis, and Marcelo Medici. I'm Jesse, I'm your host. Welcome. As always, we will give the spoiler alert early on, so if you wanted to check this film out, give us a pause and come back a little bit later on, because as we get into this film will be ruined for you. So we do start the show off with the Fast Flicks, where we do a quick little summary of what the film is all about. So this one's short and sharp. This one is about a teenage girl who tries to find the identity of her father. Hopefully that's got you on board. We like to talk about how it ended up on Netflix, one of the films. This one, international film, could not find anything really about this film at all. So that's a little bit annoying, but that's all good. So if we look at this hit Netflix on the 15th of Jan 2021, it was filmed in and around Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Translations around the world. In Portuguese, the title translates to Double Dad. In Spanish, it's Dad for Two. In French, it's Dad, is that you? In German and Greek, it's The Father of Two. And in Hungarian, it's In the Footsteps of My Father. It did have a working title of A Father in the Middle of the Way, so this all obviously ties into a girl trying to find her dad, and the tagline is, she will find more than one answer, obviously because double dad means two. What are the critics and audiences saying about this film? On Rotten Tomatoes, this doesn't have a consensus. It has 3 reviews, 1 fresh and 2 rotten. Audience has it at 55%. That's less than 50 ratings. IMDb sits at a 5.6 out of 10 on 1,500 ratings, and Letterboxd, it sits at a 2.6 out of 5 on nearly 7,000 ratings, been logged by nearly 10,000 people. Nothing on Metacritic for this one, so sort of middle of the range for this film. One of my early thoughts for this film, this is probably going to be a pretty quick episode because there's not an awful lot to say, but for me, I think it's a sweet film. It's perfect family entertainment, I guess, with pretty good messages, good performances, and some pretty picturesque scenery throughout. So some positives from me. Let's talk about the characters in this film. So Vincenza, she's our main character. She's just turned 18 and she's desperate to find out who her real father is. It's something that her mother has kept from her whole life, and I guess her journey in this film is to not only find her dad but herself and what she wants her identity to be. And that's where we talk about her mother, Rayon, I guess. She's very free-spirited. She lives in this hippie commune almost. Her focuses are on nature and yoga and spirit, and sort of in this film heads off to India for this retreat, which sort of gives Vincenza some time to go and investigate who her dad is. I guess as a mother figure, it's probably a little bit concerning that her daughter discovers that 2 men could possibly be her father, and then there's another guy on the scene around the same time as well, so a little bit concerning from that point of view. The 2 dads that she decides or does find, we've got Paco, the first guy she finds. They are complete opposites pretty much. So Paco's a struggling artist who is gruff, he's impatient, he seems to have not settled down, he's got no love connection, I guess, that he sees fit to follow up on, and he's probably couldn't think of anything worse than being a father. So he's self-understanding that he isn't responsible, but does turn and enjoys the company of her as we progress. And then the other dad is Giovanni. Sort of said, is the complete opposite of Paco. He's a successful businessman, he's got romantic connections, an ex-wife, still cares for and looks out for these stepsons. So very different characters, but both have the time and effort to put into Vincenza as well. The only other character I'll mention in this, there's lots of side characters throughout. Kadu, he's like the love interest they put into Vincenza in this film. Has some awkward dialogue, but plays a role that's more supportive as a friend than almost worrying about his feelings towards her. Yes, they have some nice moments, but it was good that this film wasn't pushing that idea of a love story and was their relationship going to work. The focus in this film is her finding her dad, so I like that as well. The director for this one, Chris D'Amato, 21 directing credits. They all look like they're in Portuguese. In 2022, it looks like he has another Netflix original film, which we'll get to at some stage, called Someone Borrowed. So something to look forward to once we get there as well. Scenes. What are some scenes that stood out? What are some ones that didn't work? So stuff that worked for me, that's the scenery in the community was absolutely beautiful. Great scenery, really well shot. I think that Vincenza she has some funny moments. Obviously, has lived in this commune, doesn't understand everything about society, and they do a couple of nice moments. There's this one where she's experiencing an elevator for the first time, and gets into the lift and sort of yells, 10, thinking it's going to take her to the 10th floor. Thought that was funny. There's this night where, Vincenza meets Giovanni, and he's like, just stay here the night, and puts her to sleep, and she wakes up and she's woken by his ex-wife and stepsons in the morning. They're freaking out that there's a teenage girl in the house. I thought that was quite funny. There's a montage of Vincenza trying to share her time between Parco and Giovanni. I thought that was really well done as well. There's a party they have, and there's a money heist character at the dress-up party. Good little Netflix cross promo. I thought that was good. And then finally, at the parade at the end, when Vincenza sort of tells both dads, close your eyes, she puts his note on the heads, asking them both to be her father. I thought that was really nice because, neither were her real dad, but their relationship is better than blood ties. I thought that was really good. What didn't I like in this one? Only a couple of things. I think there's a moment at the start, Vincenza, it's her birthday, she walks through the community and literally gets birthday wishes from what felt like every single person in that community. It just went on for ages and ages, and I know they were showing the scenery in the village, but it dragged. Kadu sort of says, straight up to Vincenza, like, I'm not good at talking to pretty girls. Just a bad line. Text messages on screen. If you've listened to this show before, it grinds my gears. Really gross throughout the film. Didn't need it. Vincenza, she cracks it at Kadu when her two dads work out her game. And for no reason at all, cracks it at Kadu, tells him to go away, and then follows it up with another outburst at him not too long later. Didn't like that either. And finally, Parco. There's a scene where, he sort of works out that she's been seeing Giovanni too, and he goes home and he paints in all black to show how depressed he is. Oh man, that was just too blatant in the face. Themes, ideas, lots of nice things this film talks about. So obviously parenting, fatherhood, the idea that family doesn't have to have DNA to prove that you belong or that you're welcome, but also that idea through the mother as well, maybe over-parenting, like you can control yourself but you can't control other people. I like that idea. I think that everything happens for a reason is a big part of this community that they have as well, like listening to your heart, following what is the right thing to do, which can include telling the truth as well, because that's a rarity these days and such an important trait. And finally, too, identity plays a big part. Like, what does identity mean? How do you know when you found your true self? So lots of good little things too. Takeaways from this film. What did I take away? I think, I like that the idea that this is a society in the film, and possibly in Brazil as well, where it's fine for men to break down, to cry, to hyperventilate, and to not know what to do in situations of stress or change. I thought it was really refreshing and nice to see, because we see that with both dads, with Parco and Giovanni. They both do it, and I thought that was really well and nice that they included that too. Questions, ponderings. I guess the big thing about this is the mother, Rayon. Like, why has she kept the identity of Vincenza's father a secret all these years? And it doesn't get answered either. So it's a tricky question because, she obviously doesn't need that. She's found two people that she connects with and really likes, so we don't actually need to know. But I don't know. It's one of those things in a film that's the whole idea of the film, and the idea maybe isn't. Maybe the idea of the film is that you can make connections with people. It doesn't matter who they are, and that's just as good as knowing the truth. I'm ready to wrap this up. We give the films a rating out of 5 on this show. So for me, like I said, this is good family entertainment. It works through culture and language barriers, and it's just put together so nicely, and something that probably wouldn't deserve repeat viewing, but it's an easy choice to sit down with the family and watch as maybe an introduction to international film. So pretty high for me. This is a 2.5 out of 5. We're on socials. We've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got X, formerly known as Twitter. I just wanted to put out there for you, like, it's the same thing again. Like, this is to do with the idea of who her real father is, and obviously the idea isn't to know who he is, but did they include her real dad in the film somewhere? Was he somewhere in the community? Was he somewhere in Rio? Was he somewhere and we just, it was just like a little bit of an Easter egg? I'm not sure. That would have been a nice little touch almost, to maybe release in 10 years time, say, hey, we had him in there the whole time. Other than that, we're done for this one. We're back next week. We have an English language film next week, which is a bit of a change up. It's a 2021 film. It's a cyberpunk action film called Outside the Wire. This one's directed by Mikhail Hafstrom. It stars Anthony Mackie, Damson Idris, Emily Beecham, Michael Kelly, and Palo Asbak. So that's what we've got next week. Anthony Mackie, good. I'm keen to see a film with him. I think we've done one on this show with him already, but obviously the new Captain America as well. So cool. Let's do that next week. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you there.